And that sets the tone of our conversation tonight here on Sunday Express. We're looking at the Gen Z dynamics, the social integration and understanding. And joining me in studio, on my immediate left, we have Timothy Ekesa, who's the director of the Kenya Alliance for Advancement of Children Rights. Has many titles. We're going with that today. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Then far left is Nancy Karetha, who is a counseling psychologist and youth mentor. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your time. So let's start off with, in your professional opinion, because so much has been said about Gen Z, I'd want to know from where you sit, Timothy Ekesa, having been a teacher and also pushing for rights of children. How would you describe Gen Z?
I think Gen Z is, they're actually children who have been born mostly in the 80s, in the 90s. And they are children who have enjoyed free primary education, free secondary education, a university education that is subsidized. And majority of them are either in college, they're in university, and some are already working. So it's actually a generation that has grown up when things were a bit better.
Generation that has grown up when things were a bit better. So from a counselor point of view, Madam Nancy, how would you best describe Gen Z as a cadre?
From a counseling perspective, this is a generation that knows what they want. They have been exposed to this from when they were little. From kindergarten, they know they have a right. And it's a generation that would want to express themselves and to be heard, not just expressing, but they need to express and be heard. And this has been, even in families, there will be questioning, whereas before it would be mom said, dad said. Today it's, or in that generation it was like, why should I do this? Convince me why I should be doing this. And at this point where they are questioning the same. Why is this happening to us? We've got the best education our parents could give. We've got all the opportunities promised to us. Where are they?
Good question. So it is a generation that is educated, knows their civil rights, want to not only be seen but also heard. But then we are finding it difficult as members of the public. So where's the missing link between the social integration of this generation with the rest of society? They have been termed in some words as misunderstood. What do you say about that, Mr. Ekesa?
Okay, maybe I want to say I work for children. I've worked for children all my life, last 29 years. And the Gen Zs come from the children. Yeah, most of them are the children we've worked with through school. And I want to say they have always spoken, but I think we've not been hearing. The biggest challenge we've had in this country is that we don't listen. But they have been speaking. They speak from the time they were young children. They have been speaking throughout their processes. They have been speaking throughout their education. We've been taking them through education, through some said books that are political. If you know, I think there are a number of political books that children have gone through, Betrayal in the City, I think Tumboli's Loshiba. If you look at those books, they are all talking about good governance. But again, when it comes now to seeing the good governance, they don't see it. That's the biggest challenge they're asking. What is this we've been hearing and now we don't see it? They have kept on talking, but we have not been listening.
Madam Nancy, they've kept on talking, but no one is listening. As a counsellor, what is really holding us back from, listening, giving an ear to this particular generation?
I would say from a parent's perspective, the socialization that parents are always right. And so children should be able to listen and obey without question.
Okay.
And this generation is not taking that.
So there's a disconnect.
Yes.
Authority, what the authority prescribes vis-a-vis what is when it comes to the reality of the Gen Z.
Yes.
But then how do we marry that perspective? Because we all need to coexist. How do we go about it?
I think for me, we need a bit more to learn, to take a step and learn from them, to understand them. Actually, the problem right now, it's not it's us who don't understand them. It's not them who don't understand them. They understand us very well. they see what's happening in this country, and that's why they are actually asking us, why are you not listening to us? And actually they're interested in also being part of this process, but we've always looked at them as children. We've looked at them as people who don't vote. We've looked at them as they're the future. Actually, they say they are future leaders. They are forgetting that the leaders of actual today. I've kept on saying that in every election, the majority of voters are children. Those are the people who become 18 every year. I think we've been with you on this, and I keep on telling you. Those are the guys we are talking about. And right now, the ones we are talking about who are now looking for IDs, maybe there are half. The ones who are in Form 3, Form 4, still in school, they're actually more than what we have right now. Right now, they have a team of close to 3 million.
So they are a formidable force. We'll be getting back to that conversation. You take a quick breather. Remember, you can be part of this conversation. We are streaming live on KBC Channel 1, live on YouTube, and we're also on X. Let us know your views when it comes to the Gen Z dynamics. Is there a missing link in the social integration of this particular demographic? We'll be right back. Welcome back, and the conversation is about Gen Z dynamics, the social integration, and trying to understand this particular demographic. And in studio, I have two experts. We have Timothy Ekese, who's the Executive Director of CAC, as well as Nancy Karetha, who is a counseling and youth mentor. Well, before we took a break, we already set the tone and said that this is a demographic that is already here, tech-savvy, knowledgeable, wants to be heard. And has been all their lifetime, as you've said, they've been in school, they've been at home. But then why have we found it, or why has society found it difficult to incorporate what has already been shared by this demographic? And what has been the ripple effect of a seemingly non-hearing society when it comes to the cry of this particular demographic? Let's start off, Madam Nancy, on that particular aspect. From a counseling perspective, what has been the ripple effect of this?
This generation, as they are calling themselves Jay-Z, they have been raised with technology. Actually, they are digital tribe, if we can call them that. And it's very hard for someone who is not in their tribe, digital tribe, to understand them. When they see them on the phone, we call them face down. Little do we know that face down, they are generating income using their phone. They're doing so many things that don't fit the mold that we have set for them. Most of these young people today, they are self-employed. And they're using their gadgets for that. But for this generation, maybe from where I come from, the generation of my generation would be looking at them, why aren't you looking for a job, a formal job? So they're not fitting in that a mold that we have for them. They need to have a formal job. They need to behave like this for them to be relevant in society. But for them, they feel where they are is where they fit, and it's where they need to play a part in building their nation. As they build themselves, they feel, and it's true, they need to feel part and parcel of building the nation. But what we do as maybe parents, we kind of squeeze them in because we want them to fit
the mold.
And that is what they are saying, no, we don't want that. Let us be, and you'll see what we can do.
They want to be seen to do what they know best. Now, Timothy Ekese, from a civil, you're a teacher, you have a background of teaching, you've worked with the children. Is there room for Gen Z in governance as we start?
Yes, there's a lot of room. But maybe just to pick up on the point that she was talking about, it is not just fitting in the mold, it's fitting in our mold, not their mold. I think, you know, we are the parents who say that I don't want my children to go through what I went through. I went to school without shoes, so I want them to have shoes. They have come up with new jobs, which we are not appreciating. Like right now, you look at our government, we keep on promising them that they can go and get jobs abroad. We are bringing you 2,000 jobs. They don't want those jobs. They're asking themselves, they're asking us, why do you want us to go out? They have eyes, they have ears, they can see that there are some Kenyans who are getting educated and they are coming, they are getting jobs here, but they are being told, we want you to go to Europe, we want you to go to Arabia, we want you to go elsewhere. They don't want that. So for me, it's actually up to us to ensure that we listen to them, and there are spaces for them. So when we also give them too much promises, and in the end there's nothing happening, they can't see, they get confused. And that's the challenge we've had with the young people. At times our politicians, they promise too much without delivering anything. Because, and they are people of today, they are instant, they want everything instant. If you say,
instant.
Yeah, if you say instant coffee, instant everything, instant jobs, if they say you are giving us 2,000 jobs, let them see even 1,000 jobs or 500 jobs being created. But you can't say we'll give you 5,000 jobs and 2 years later there's not even a single job who they can identify, one of them being in that job. So they actually, to me, it's that we don't understand them, and we are also not giving them space to say what they want to do. It's actually participation. Something which I've talked about.
But then let me be the devil's advocate in this particular platform. This particular generation is people who are eligible to actually casting their vote.
Yes.
But statistics as they are, they have been significantly missing from these processes. So now we find ourselves at a crux socially. We are trying to understand this generation, as you said, the instant generation. But they have, over the years, missed that bus. How do we marry that?
Actually, they've missed the bus because they have been discouraged by us. Because one thing they tell us, I work with them every day, they tell us that last time you voted and your vote didn't count, why should I vote? I think they're realizing that maybe it's in futility. We do things that don't make any difference. They want to see, they're asking, why are some people in some positions forever? How do you have somebody who has served in 4 governments? The original Kenyatta government, Moi government, the same person up to now, somebody who is over 70 years. So they ask themselves, if somebody 80 years is still serving in government, when will I, 21-year-old, be able to even serve in government? So they actually feel discouraged about it. But let me tell you right now, they have woken up and they are willing to take up votes, and they are willing to vote. That's one thing that they are doing right now. They are promising themselves that they have to vote in the next election.
Now, from a psychology and counseling point of view, we already have our Gen Z with us. In the next 4-5 years, they're going to be seated in places of power. What do you envision for this particular demographic in the next 5 years to come, in terms of governance, in terms of, homes, work and such? Are we expected to see quite the drastic change in the next 5?
I would want to go back a few years back. I want to believe, and rightly so, this is the generation that we saw a lot of unrest in schools.
Okay.
Because they were saying we need to be heard by our school administration and all that. And they were actually heard. And there were so many changes that happened during that time in schools. I do high school counseling. I know many things have changed since that time. And now they are here again. Now they are saying, okay, you need to listen to us. And over and above that, now they know that they have agency. Their life, their actions matter for something. And in those 5 years you're talking about, they will be in these big offices, probably making decisions and policies. You can be sure they will make the right policies for this nation, because they have actually gone through
the transition.
Yes.
Now, as we come to a close, we have a situation where we have a demographic that is feeling not heard, and they are making us listen, whether we like it or not. Yes? And that's the truth of where we find ourselves. How do we demonstrate that we have heard this generation, or that we are taking into consideration what it is that we're saying, as we come to a wrap, from with your on your professional perspective, as we come to a close?
Okay, for me, I want to say that as an organization, we already started that. We've been running a program where we're actually getting young people to join our CSOs, boards, to join our organizations, creating space for them and giving them space to expand themselves. Just like she said, they had unrest in schools, the schools were changed, but we didn't change the workplace. So we actually need to change the workplace to fit them, be able to allow them work flexible the way they can, allow them to come up with new ideas, to be able to reinvigorate and bring new ideas to us in what we need to do everywhere. And I think, to me, this is the work of everybody. It's not just only the government, it's the organizations, it's the companies, the hotels. Everybody need to actually create space for young people. I know the government has already started that program of internship. It's a good thing. But I'm wondering whether it is working. I think we want young people, we need to grow with them. They need actually to grow from school, from college, even when they're still in college, to grow into work. I keep on saying, when you're in primary school, you work so hard to go to high school. When you're in high school, you work so hard to go to university. When you're in university, what do? We don't work hard to. There's a mismatch between our education and our workplace. And that is up to us to be able to ensure that we who are working, that these young people will work with them. My organization have already taken 2 of the young people who actually, one of them trained even as a pilot, but she's working in work of empowerment for girls. Because we created space, she has fitted, and she loves what she's doing. She's even saying she might not want to fly because she knows what she's doing.
So we create spaces for
them,
the youth. Yeah. Madam Nancy, as you come to a close, what do you think we can demonstrate as a society to ensure that this demograph is not only just heard, but we also put what we've heard from them into action?
For me, mine is very simple. Deliver what you promise. As simple as that. Deliver what you promise. You promise them jobs after school, after university, give them jobs. And if you can't, please don't promise. Because they're not taking that. You can't promise us something you can't give. The other thing I would want us to do, or I would, hope to see parents or institutions, including the churches, doing is being authentic. If you're preaching integrity, can you please model that integrity? And I'm very proud of Gen Zs. Many of them are my mentees. I know I have quite a number on the streets. And I'm very proud of them because they are actually demonstrating integrity. Wow. So, integrity. If you say something, can you please, we say, walk the talk.
Walk the talk.
With them, nothing short of that. Walk the talk, and they'll be okay.
Very well said. That has been my panel tonight, just trying to unpack the Gen Z dynamics and looking at the social integration and also understanding this particular demograph. And my take home tonight is that this is a demograph that not only wants to be heard, but also wants those that have heard them to deliver. It's no longer verbatim. They want things in practicality. My guests tonight have been none other than Timothy Ekesa, who is the director of the Kenya Alliance for Advancement of Children's Rights, and Nancy Kwaretha, counseling psychologist and youth mentor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. But we proceed with Sunday Express. But first things first, let's have a quick breather.